You could be closer to 30K months than you think, but these 5 mistakes are likely keeping you stuck if you're not there yet. So let's break them down one by one. And I want you to know this up front. If you're stuck between 5 and 20K per month and you're really struggling to get beyond that, it's not because you're not good enough, it's not because you're not capable or you haven't worked hard enough, and it's not because you're not cut out for this. You're simply making mistakes, some which are small but powerful and some that are bigger. And when you stop making those mistakes and you fix them, suddenly growth can happen very, very quickly. That's why you hear of those results of how people go from 0 to 100 in a small amount of time. It's because they took massive action and on the right things at the right time in the right order. They solved these mistakes that they were making, right? So grab a pen and paper because I'm going to break down each mistake, why it's costing you, and the spacious alternative that's going to help move you forward. So here's what I see over and over again. Coaches hitting between 10 and 20K months, but feeling maxed out, exhausted, and frustrated. They're making money, yes, but their income is unpredictable. They're either sticking to one-on-one delivery, relying on referrals, or spending hours creating content without seeing the payoff. In other words, they're working way harder rather than smarter. And here's the kicker. They start to believe that the only way to scale is through working harder, posting more, or lowering their prices to make it more accessible. And that is just simply not true. So let's talk about the 5 mistakes that are keeping you stuck in this place. Mistake number 1 is relying solely on referrals and word of mouth. Don't get me wrong here though. If you are getting referrals, it means you are amazing at your craft. It means you're so good at what you do, and you got to give yourself a pat on the back for that because that's amazing. People do not refer people to you if they don't trust you. But here's the problem. It's unpredictable. You are relying on someone else to bring you clients, which means you're capped at the amount of income that you potentially desire to make. The spacious alternative, having a predictable and repeatable lead generation system that brings in new ideal clients every single day, not just when someone happens to send a referral your way. This puts your business back in your own hands. Mistake number 2 is relying only on short form content to convert clients. Posting reels, TikToks, or carousels every day is great and it might make you feel productive, but short form content alone rarely converts. At best, it attracts. It's like giving someone one puzzle piece at a time and hoping that they'll be able to see the whole picture. Here's why this matters. On average, it takes 7 hours of content consumption across 11 different touch points in 4 different places before someone is ready to buy. Of course, some people buy way faster than that, and some people buy after consuming way more than that, right? So it's the average. Google calls this the 7-11-4 rule. So if all of you are doing is pumping out 15-second reels, you're nowhere near giving your audience the level of depth they need to make an empowered buying decision. The spacious alternative, however, is to combine short form content with long form content like running live events, running evergreen trainings, doing podcast episodes, or email marketing, where you can actually go deep, build trust, and inspire buying decisions. This is exactly how I'm able to take someone who's brand new to my world, someone who's only seen me for a few days through short form content or ads, right? And then turn them into a high paying, high quality client just in a matter of days, not after months of warming up, but often just from one powerful piece of long form content like running an event or a training that builds the trust and belief needed to buy. So in short form attracts, long form nurtures and converts. You need both and you need to do both well. Mistake number 3 is being really vague and general with your messaging. Back in 2020, you could get away with saying, I help women step into their power, or I help coaches grow their business. Not anymore. The industry has changed. Your potential clients are way more sophisticated than ever. So if your messaging is vague or general in any way, you'll blend in with everyone else and struggle to sign clients. And it's so interesting because something that I hear so often is like, oh, I have so much competition. There's so much saturation. Not really. Sure, there might be lots of people in the niche that you are in, but it's very few that are actually doing a very good job at this. So many people are so vague and general in their messaging that the moment you just position yourself as an expert properly with really clear and compelling messaging, and you are just relentlessly consistent, you will outrun most people just with that alone. So don't worry about the saturation, because most people do not nail this. It's such a big mistake, which is also why most people never see the light of day of 30K months. Even people with large amounts of followings and lots of engagement are not all necessarily making a lot of money, because engagement isn't everything. There are a lot of other pieces that go into it. So I just wanted to share that for anyone that's maybe like, oh, there's just too many mindset coaches. Should I even bother, or whatever. This is why it's so important to position yourself as an expert, and specific tangible messaging is what does just that. So let me give you some practical examples. Let's start with a mindset niche. So saying I help women build confidence and feel more empowered to create a life they love is a very, very general and broad. Instead, a more tangible and specific example could be something along the lines of, I help corporate women replace self-doubt with confidence so they can speak up in meetings, ask for promotions, and set firm boundaries without second-guessing themselves, right? Way more tangible. I'm visualizing someone very, very specific, and the person reading that will know that's either them or it's not. A business niche, saying I help entrepreneurs grow their business and make more money. Well, entrepreneur is every business owner ever, so it's very vague, and I'm not going to trust someone that just helps all business owners, right? I don't help all business owners because I haven't been in all industries, right? But I know the service-based industry online and the coaching space very, very well, and so I position myself as an expert in that field because I've been very consistently successful in it. And saying make more money is very vague. I could give you $1 and you've made more money, right? People are looking for a bigger outcome than that. So a more specific example could be something like, I help female coaches go from 0 to 5K months in just 90 days through Instagram Reels. Way more specific. A health niche, I help people lose weight, improve their health, and feel their best. Again, like I said with the money thing, you could lose half a kilo and you've lost weight, but I'm sure people are envisioning a little bit more than that if this is a real problem that they're facing. So instead, you might want to say something like, I help busy mums lose 20 pounds and regain confidence without spending hours in the gym or giving up their favorite foods in just 12 weeks. Way more specific, right? I could go on. So the spacious alternative is to be hyper specific and tangible in your messaging, not just your I help statement, but across all of your content, because this is going to position you as an expert immediately, right? You pair that with great branding, long form content, and a lot of confidence and a few other things, and bam, you have a really amazing foundation ready to scale on. When your audience reads your content, they should know exactly who it is for, what result you help them achieve, and why it matters within just 10 seconds of being on your profile, by the way. Because remember, a confused mind will never buy, and clients don't buy inclusions or features, just so you know. They buy outcomes, so show them the outcome. Mistake number 4 is only selling one-on-one or low ticket offers, right? So if you're only delivering one-on-one, you are trading time for money. And if you are only selling low ticket, you're working twice as hard to make the same amount of revenue. Neither of those paths will sustainably get you to 30K plus months. For example, if you want to make $1 million with a $997 offer, you would need to sign over 1,000 clients to do so in a 12-month period. Compare that to a $10,000 offer where you'd only need to sign 100 clients. Same revenue goal, but a very different workload and lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying you need to charge $10,000 or you shouldn't charge $997, but I am sharing that pricing matters. The way you structure your offer matters, because it will be the difference between having spaciousness and revenue opposed to being burnt out, maxed out, exhausted, and unable to take on more clients. So the spacious alternative is to build a no-brainer offer. Ideally, a high-ticket group offer that allows you to serve more clients, increase your income, and still have a mostly clear calendar in the process. So you might be wondering, what makes an offer a true no-brainer? There are 5 core components that additional to what an average program is. An average program has a title, it has, a byline, it has some inclusions, price point, payment plan, and so forth. But a no-brainer offer has 5 additional components. 1, very, very clear promise where there's clarity and desirability. So your offer needs a specific, emotionally compelling result, right? Grow your business is vague. Sign 5 high-ticket clients per month using Instagram Reels is clear, tangible, and desirable. Second thing is you need bonuses. This enhances the value without overcomplicating your inclusions. The right bonuses solve objections or fast track results. They're not the main inclusions, right? So it could be swipe files, templates, or a personalized plan, not just extra stuff. I see so many people have bonuses and they're really uncompelling bonuses and it defeats the entire purpose. So we want to make sure that our bonuses actually support the promise to feel faster and easier and more enjoyable to achieve, right? The third thing is a guarantee to de-risk the decision. So what makes your offer safe to buy? Maybe it's a results-based or time-based or satisfaction-based guarantee. You don't have to promise something that you can't promise, but there are things you can do to de-risk the decision-making process. A strong guarantee removes the hesitation and builds trust. Now, totally okay if you do not want to have a guarantee, but if you don't, then you have to have a reason as to why you don't so that you can handle that objection if it presents itself to ensure that your offer remains positioned as a no-brainer in comparison to other offers in your, field that do have a guarantee, right? Number 4 is a payment plan to create accessibility, yet still positioning yourself as a premium service. So your pricing should feel like a stretch, but not a stress for your ideal clients, right? Supportive payment plans make your offer accessible while incentivizing for pay in fulls to keep that cash flow healthy. So you want to structure that appropriately, and there's a whole process to doing that. And it's important to factor in the costs that go into signing a client as well. And the 5th component that really helps make an offer a no-brainer is having ethical urgency and scarcity. So give people a genuine reason to act now. This could be limited spots, a start date, a bonus expiring, or pricing increasing. We don't want to leverage fake urgency. People can smell it from a mile away. We just want to create momentum, understanding how the human brain is wired to support people to step out of fear and into action, because that's where their life is going to change. When you combine these 5 components, your offer does 80% of the selling for you. Clients show up to sales calls already leaning towards a yes because they know you and they know your offer. And because the offer itself is so structured and so irresistible, it's difficult to say no to, right? Now, mistake number 5 is doing everything manually, okay? Manually onboarding clients, manually creating content from scratch, manually tracking payments, manually following up with every single lead. When you are the one holding the fort on by a thread, it's no wonder you feel so exhausted. You've unintentionally made yourself the bottleneck in your own business. And here's the thing, when everything depends on you, you've built a really fragile business model. You're constantly in catch-up mode, reacting instead of leading, right? Your growth is capped by your own personal bandwidth, which means it will be near impossible for you to scale consistently past those 30K months, let alone reach 50K months or beyond that. And here's the thing, if you're still operating like a 10K per month coach, you're just not in a position to be reaching those 30K months, no matter how much you say you want it. So the spacious alternative is implementing simple systems that automate and streamline your backend. Okay, things like an automated onboarding process that welcomes clients, sets expectations, and delivers resources instantly. A clean, centralized client hub where clients can find everything they need without waiting for you. Repeatable templates for content, emails, and sales follow-up processes that save you hours each week. And a simple tracking dashboard so you always know your numbers without digging through clunky spreadsheets. These aren't nice to haves. This is the foundation of scaling. When your backend is automated, your time and energy are freed up. And things that actually move the needle, like coaching, leading, innovating, and marketing, is how you're going to be able to then make more money. But you can't do that if you're at full capacity doing all of the other stuff, where the more you grow, the more you have to do, which means the less you can actually then grow. So I want to give you a couple of quick examples here because I know hearing results just really makes it so real. My client Abby was stuck in that exact 10 to 20K mark for so long, and she kept burning out because she was constantly creating so much short form content and using low ticket offers because she didn't know how to charge properly. Once she shifted into my monthly event engine strategy and we fixed up her pricing and her offer, she actually made $70,000 in sales in 1 month. Another client, Danielle, a mindset coach, was capped at 15K months with really vague messaging. It's amazing she got that far with such vague messaging. But once we dialed it in a little bit and created a group program, she actually then scaled to $35,000 a month. So she over doubled her revenue just from fixing up the messaging and having a more sustainable offer that then made her nervous system feel safe to actually go and sign more clients. And then one of my clients, Nina, who's a health coach, she was exhausted doing back-to-back one-on-one sessions and consultations, and she wasn't charging very much, and she was charging per session instead of for a big outcome. She was really stuck at that like $12,000 mark. And once she launched her first group program at $5,000, she then scaled to 30K months with a fraction of the workload, which then improved her client results significantly as well. So if you're stuck, it's not because you're not capable, it's just because you're relying on strategies and systems that are outdated and don't support the growth that you want. So to recap, the 5 costly mistakes that I see time and time again coaches make that keeps them stuck between 5 and 20K a month are relying on referrals, living on only short form content, being vague in your messaging, only selling one-on-one or low ticket, and doing everything manually. If you are making any of these mistakes right now, it is costing you so much more time, energy, and money than you even realize. But the good news is the fixes are simple and they create more spaciousness, not less. None of this is about complicating the process. It's actually about doing the complete opposite. Because scaling doesn't mean sacrificing your freedom. You just might think that right now because right now you are seeing your workload get more and more and more as you grow. But it's not that growing causes that, it's that your business model is currently causing that. When done right though, you actually get more freedom. I could sign 20 clients right now and my business can hold that. I can hold that because of the systems, because of the strategy, because of the structure of the offer. And most importantly, they all feel seen, supported, and get great results. Again, because of how the whole program is set up. And this allows me to pour so much time and energy into them because I've got the capacity to do so. So here's my invitation. If you're ready to stop making these mistakes and finally scale to spacious 30K months, I'd love to help you. Book a free roadmap call with me. And on this call, we will audit your business model, identify the biggest thing holding you back right now, and map out a custom 3-step plan to get you scaling simply and sustainably. The link is below. Spots are really limited though because I only work with a certain number of clients at a time because I go so deep. So find a time that works for you now and I'll speak to you soon.